and welcome back to Rise and Align, where we talk about all things high vibrational. We are your hosts, Demi and
Haley, and today we are diving into the idea of you are what you consume. The energy input that you are choosing to align with becomes part of your energetic vibration. And everything is energy. Everything and everyone has an energetic vibration. And we just want to invite mindfulness about and around what you are consuming on a daily basis, whether that be the people you are around, the food you're eating, the media you're intaking, and the clothes you wear. These things all influence the vibration you're emitting and therefore influencing what you're going to attract into your reality, because like energy attracts like energy.
And also what you're spreading throughout the world, because you're always acting out of how you feel and your vibrational frequency. And that's, what is transferring to everyone you come in contact with. So, I mean, the last, I'd say 10, maybe even 15 to 20 years, we've learned so much more about organic eating and health in general. And also, I feel like the last few years I've heard so much more about like how clothes are made and who they're made by and where they made and, the quality around that. And when I was younger, I didn't know and I didn't care. And so I would consume a lot of like junk food and junk TV and things like that. And the more that I have started to learn and research and pay attention, the more I've changed my habits. It's like once you learn, you can't unlearn, right? So then I would start to feel guilty about like, well, I know I shouldn't really be consuming this. And once I started to change my habits and start to consume healthier things, I felt so much better. And I realized that that is a huge part of self-love. Like many people will use the excuse, well, organic food is too expensive or high quality clothes are too expensive. But the thing is, you are worth it. And when you make that decision that you are worthy of it and you are worth it, that's when you start to attract high quality everything in your life. When you feel high quality, you treat yourself high quality, you treat yourself with this self-love, then you attract that in every area of your life. So I know for us, we both are really healthy. We really are conscious and aware of what we're consuming, whether that be food or movies, TV, or even music, like anything. I'm really conscious and considerate about what I want to consume. But it does really change the way that you feel, and it does change everything that you're attracting in your life. And I now notice that not only do I feel better and I act better and I treat myself better habitually, but I also treat other people better, and I also attract other people who are also aware of what they're consuming and who are healthy people as well, which I feel like it's like your entire life will become high quality when you start to consume high quality and feel high quality.
Yes, it's so true. I love everything that you said. I also want to bring attention around the idea of scarcity. When you're buying groceries and you're buying things because they're cheap, that's a very lack scarcity based mindset. When you are buying things that are organic, yes, the price tag is higher, but like you said, it's allowing yourself to feel that you are worthy of consuming that. And the reality of it is you're consuming things that are made without harsh chemicals. They're not genetically modified, and you are worthy of consuming that. And the energy, the vibration of something that is made organically versus something that has synthetic toxins in it is completely different. I feel like, first of all, from a more physical perspective, your body is going to be healthier if you're not intaking that, but also energetically, you are getting something that is so pure and made from very natural and from source, and you're not taking in something that is cheap and toxic for your mind, body, and soul, honestly. So if you even think about that from a clothing perspective, if you're shopping somewhere where your clothing are made with toxins, like synthetic toxic materials, that is what you're wearing on your body every day. Your body your skin can actually absorb the toxins that are in the clothing. And energetically, you are, again, telling yourself and your body that you are only worthy of these cheap, synthetic, toxic clothing. Whereas if you instead start to invest in quality pieces, now, obviously, it's going to cost a little bit more, but you're again telling yourself that you're worthy of it. So if you are investing in one really nice shirt that you know you'll wear for a really long time versus, numerous shirts that will last one or two wears, like
that's what I was going to
overall,
say. You think it's more expensive, but in reality, higher quality things last longer. And I mean, it's easy to just state this concept, right? But let's get into it, because I love to think about both food and clothes. One, I watched this video the other day and I cannot unlearn this, that it was that the way that polyester breaks down, the fibers actually embed themselves in your skin. And like you said, your body will actually absorb the toxins from those clothes. But when you're ordering things from Shein, you know that you're going to wear it once, twice, maybe a handful of times tops, because it's not going to last. It is not made with the same quality. But if you buy something from a boutique that's, handmade and literally made with love, you're going to like it better, and it's going to last longer as well. Like, the quality of the fabric is actually higher quality. And then thinking about, like, when you're going out to eat or when you're grocery shopping or whatever it might be, when you go to, say, like a local restaurant, like we live in Duluth, Minnesota, and we both love this restaurant called Vabene, and there are quite a few other local restaurants that I absolutely love. You can tell that the quality of the food is so much higher than if you're going to go to a chain restaurant, where they're microwaving food, they're using frozen food, they're using lower quality things to save money, like McDonald's had done for a very long time. I know they've changed quite a bit because people really did attack them on that. But when you think about it, like, if you're buying, say, hamburgers and cheeseburgers from a fast food place, I don't know how it is right now, but I know for sure for a very long time they were using corn-fed beef. Now, when animals eat corn, it's really cheap and it fattens them up really fast, and they die early because it's actually got no nutrients in it. If you've ever noticed, when you eat corn, it comes out the other end the same way because there's nothing good in it for you. When you're consuming that, you're putting that corn into your body. Like, you're just gaining fat and you're not actually getting good nutrients that are going to give you energy. So if you're instead buying a grass-fed natural steak, you're actually going to get way more out of that. So you might think it's more expensive, but in the long run, it's giving you more nutrients and energy. And it goes the same for every other food, and as well as every product that you're consuming. The other thing that I think is so interesting is, we know for sure, energy is contagious and it's transferable, but there have actually been studies done on this. So one study in particular that I remember learning about was they had taken people skydiving and they took the clothes from the skydivers to a laboratory where they had brain scanning devices on. And when the people smelled the clothes from the skydivers, the fear center of their brain lit up. So it proves to say that fear is actually transferable, right? I've worked at so many restaurants, and if you're working at a place that is high stress, you're being paid low money, you're not being treated well, the people who don't really care that much about their employees, that stress and that energy is being transferred into your food. Whereas if you go to a place where there's a chef who loves their job and is, doing their passion, and they're changing the menu all the time, and they're loving what they're doing, and they're creating these beautiful masterpieces, and it's not only so wonderfully tasting, but it's also like a beautiful masterpiece. Like, you get to look at it and enjoy it and, really savor each bite. That is the energy that's going into your food. So I don't know. Once I learned that, I think it made me become so much more aware, but also, like, I'm very picky.
Yeah.
But I'm not picky about, I'll eat anything, but I'm picky about quality.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, I can't even go back to eating fast food or, crappy chain restaurants, because it feels bad every time.
It does.
And then my body feels bad afterwards. It never tastes nearly as good. It's never nearly as satisfying. And same, like, when I'm cooking, like, I'm always buying organic ingredients. I'm cooking what I want, and I'm putting love into it. I'm enjoying the process.
Absolutely.
The food tastes way better.
It feels good. It's a matter of finding things that feel good when you wear them and taste good. And you can feel, like you said, you can feel that energy. If you can feel that transference, I know, every once in a while I will fall into the fast food thing. I'll get something, and I know afterwards I'm like, oh my God, like I feel terrible.
Yeah, every time.
And
I'm
it's
like, why did I do that?
yes. And it is about what gets put into it. And like you were talking about vibrating, it's made with love. It's literally made with love. And we say that a lot when we're at our favorite places, but it truly is. And we can feel that in us. And I think that's so amazing. But also just to see the quality from more of a superficial level, like it's fun. It is an experience. It looks good. It tastes good. It's cute. It's a whole experience.
The restaurant itself feels different too. The way that the waiters treat you, the way that the environment feels, the kind of music they're playing, the views you're looking at. When you're going to a more expensive place, you're typically getting a higher quality experience. But that's the other thing. Money does not make something high quality. And I don't know, where designer stores have their clothing produced or who's making it or what kind of like fabrics and stuff they're using. Some of them are actually worth what you're paying for. You are getting what you pay for. Others are not. It's just you're paying for the name. And so I think it's really good to become more consciously aware of what you're consuming and how it makes you feel and what is actually valuable to you. And if something, say that you want to buy, like I've bought designer stuff in the past, I'm not that big on it anymore. But there are certain items that I was like so happy and excited to have that it was worth it for me to have that just because it made me feel good. It made me love it. When you're doing things, especially like makeup too, like if you're buying something that you really love and you're going to use all the time, then you are getting what you're paying for. But if you're buying something that you're spending a ton of money on and it's low quality, it is like the worst.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's so important to invest in things that make you feel good. It's absolutely worth it because, again, we go back to the concept of telling yourself that you are worthy of that, which, again, will attract more of that to you. Yes. But also thinking about companies that are, more of like on the corporate scale or like copy paste, everything is the same. To them, it is not about creating a good experience for someone. It's not about the quality. It's not about any of that. It's about the money for them. It comes from a very like greed, like scarcity mindset where, a lot of these corporations is like, we got to sell more. We got to sell more. It's never enough. Like we always have to be gaining more sales than we ever had before. And it's like, it's never enough. They always want to have what they want to be bigger.
Money. And I think it's good too to recognize like greed comes from lack.
So, you're supporting these companies that are not necessarily creating good in the world, creating better. And honestly, if we go back to the more of the fashion concept, the fashion industry is one of the top polluters in the world. So it's hurting our earth. It's hurting our earth, and we have way more clothes out there than we will ever need. And so, I think it's important to also consider like thrifting and finding love for things that are already here. So we were talking about like polyester absorbing into our skin. It also absorbs into our water, and just the massive waste that fashion produces. We're also telling the earth that we don't care about her, which I think is important to consider too, like how our consumption affects the world and the planet around us. And, we want to live more with earth and in alignment with earth and honor her abundance. And when we are treating her like with disrespect, that's going to come back to us. And how the earth, I heard someone talking recently, if we continue to hurt the planet, it's going to treat us like a parasite. It's going to want to get rid of us because it wants to heal.
I mean, we can see that actively happening as well, with earthquakes and hurricanes and all kinds of other things. And if you ever pay attention to where these world disasters hit, it's really interesting because a lot of times there's a lot of negativity in the places that it hits prior to it hitting. And, as far as we know, weather is unpredictable. Most of the time, like the huge things that are happening, like the catastrophic events, are naturally happening, but they have to be a reaction to something. You know, for every action, there's a reaction, and vice versa.
Yeah. So I think if we are taking better care of ourselves, we are consuming things that are more high vibrational and healthy and better for the earth, that's going to become the reality that we create as a whole. So I think it's so important to support businesses that are focused more on quality and experiences and putting love, like spreading love instead of greed. And, you know, I think that could go a long way in like healing the world, honestly.
I really think
and it
so
all starts
too.
with us.
It does.
So if we start by making those little changes and start changing, making small choices, it has a big impact on the road.
That's such a good point, because so many people will be like, well, I can't change the world. Well, like something that I do is going to be so minuscule that it's not going to make a difference. But Abraham Hicks says that one person in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And here's why. When you start to make decisions that validate the fact that you are worthy of a high quality experience and a high quality life, then you're going to start to feel that you are worthy and that you are high quality. And you are always acting out of those emotions. So you're going to constantly start to take action that is high quality. And it snowballs. So the more that you're affirming, like, you know what, I'm worthy of this sweater or this bag or this meal or these groceries or whatever it might be, the more you're going to feel that, and the more that you're going to create the reality. So if you start to live like money is infinite, because it is actually, there's infinite abundance here for us. When you start to believe that and feel that and act out of that, your life is going to reflect it. And I've had so many different circumstances, I know you have too, we've talked about it, where you want to tell yourself like, no, I can't afford that, I shouldn't buy that right now. But when you do, and you affirm to yourself like, you know what, I'm worth it, I'm going to splurge, the money comes back immediately. The money always comes. Always. And the reason for that is because your value, or you can even say the money that you have, is based off of your vibration. So the more abundant that you feel, the more abundance that you attract, because you're always acting out of those feelings. How you feel is the conscious awareness of the frequency that you are vibrating at. So the more that you're like, you know what, I'm going to splurge on me, I'm worth it, the more that you become valuable and the more that you attract that. So Bob Proctor was my mentor, and he said, you know, you could lose absolutely everything and you would have the same amount back shortly, because it is based off of your vibration. So people always have this fear and this lack and this scarcity of, I gotta save, I can't afford that, I can't buy this, it's not, I can't do this. And
it translates in your life.
As long as you hold on to that belief that there's not enough, you're going to feel that, you're going to act out of that, and you're going to create this lack and scarcity over and over and over again. But when you change that belief and you start to change the actions and you show yourself, you know what, I'm worthy of it, it's going to change your life. And even it comes down to even the small things. Like you might say like, I'm not doing this. It's crazy. It's too much. Change little things. Start to cook for yourself. Even just cooking for yourself is a form of self-love. It is showing yourself that you are worthy of that energy and that effort that you're putting in for yourself. And you're feeding yourself healthy food. You're taking care of yourself because you're worth it. Yeah. You don't have to do everything at once, but do small things once in a while. Like maybe instead of like, and I'm guilty of it too, I'll order from Shein, you know, but maybe instead of ordering from Shein, you decide to buy yourself like a really nice outfit, just one, and you're going to end up cherishing that outfit and realizing that the quality of it is worth the price. And when you start to wear clothes of somebody who has more money than you, you're going to turn into that person.
And again, it's not about how much money you spend. You don't have to spend a bunch of money to feel abundant, but it is making small choices, like you said, that are going to allow you to feel good and worthy. It's how you feel based off of what you're spending on, like what that stuff makes you feel like. I don't think you should ever invest in like a trip or clothing or anything if you're going to feel bad about it. Like if you're gonna if you're not going to fully embody that experience or embody that. I know that I'm not interested in designer things, and I have been kind of caught up in like, well, all these influencers are getting this or that. Should I get that? Like, but I know that me investing in that, I'm not going to feel good about it. I'm not going to feel abundant. And even though that is supposed to be a really high quality piece, or it's supposed to be, you know, whatever, because it's designer, I know that if I buy that, it's not going to raise my vibration. Yeah. Like I know I'm not going to get the value of that. So it's not necessarily about spending and money. It's just more about how you feel and the energy that you're taking in, because that does impact your vibration as well.
100%. I want to go back to thrifting because I love thrifting. There are treasures and I love treasure, but I really like thrifting because when an item is high quality, it will last. Like a lot of like jeans, jean jackets, things like leather. If it's high quality, it will last for so many years. So when you're going to a thrift store and you're seeing something that has been used, you can tell like this piece is going to last. But also, when you are thrifting, be conscious of how the items make you feel, because they also are carrying the energy of whatever that they have lived through.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
I mean, I'm always cleansing whatever I buy from thrift stores. And then also, not only clothes, but like furniture. So actually, because we're not treating our planet so well, wood doesn't have as much time to grow and develop as it used to. So wood is actually not as solid as it used to be. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So when they say like, oh, they don't make them like they used to, they literally don't, because the wood isn't as solid anymore. So like homes that are being built from new, the wood is not as sturdy. It might actually not last as long.
It's funny that you say that. Not like a builder or anything, but I've heard like my family members and stuff talk about how 2x4s are not actually 2x4 anymore.
I've heard that too.
They call them 2x4s, but they're actually not.
Yeah. I've heard that too. And I don't understand any of that, but but it's crazy. And so I think that it's good to, instead of like, I mean, I used to have kind of a bad view on thrifting because we didn't have a lot of money growing up. So it was like, we could only get clothes from Goodwill, you know, and we could never buy new. And it was like such this terrible feeling. And especially other kids can be mean at school. And, oh, well, you're not wearing Hollister, so you're not cool, you know. But in reality, you might be getting way more higher quality things. It's really not about the price. It's about the quality, and it's about how it makes you feel. So, I mean, I encourage you to go thrifting and find treasures, because it's so much fun and you really do find some really wonderful things.
Yeah.
I mean, I do.
It's all about perspective too. If you feel like you want to go thrifting because it's cheap and that you are just going to buy it because it's cheap, I feel like, of course, like if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But also like try to change your perspective around it, and there are hidden treasures, and it's really fun.
Yeah, everything is about perspective. That's such a good point. Okay, so let's get into media. I try not to push my views on people, and I try not to argue with people, but I really want people to be aware of what they're consuming, because I find that when I turn on like Netflix or whatever streaming service, they tend to advertise shows that are very low vibrational. So there's a lot about like murdering and drugs and cheating, and you know, it is entertaining, sure. But you have to understand that everything that you consume, your brain has a thought about it, and that causes an emotion. So if you're watching these things and you're feeling like you watch a scary movie and you feel the fear, sure, it might be thrilling, you might think it's entertaining, but you're bringing that energy into the rest of your life. So
not to mention, when you feel fear, your brain starts to respond to that and produces chemicals that, you know, activate your fight or flight system and stuff.
Which, I mean, can lead to so many different things like lack of sleep and weight loss and depression. And so everyone's living this high-paced, stressed-out life in America, and then they watch TV to calm down, quote unquote, and they're actually consuming this toxic vibration. And so many people are just unaware of it, and I've brought it up to people who are unaware of it, and some people will get very defensive about it, but I just encourage you to be aware of how you feel when you're watching things. Like the news, like I've heard spiritual speakers joke about the news before, like if you want to get out of alignment, then watch CNN. But honestly, the news only reports negativity. And my entire life, my family's been like, we need to know what's going on in the world. Like, it's important to watch the news. And I've always been like, the news has never once impacted my here now, and you can only ever be here now. So I choose not to watch the news. And unfortunately, because I do own a cell phone and I go out in public, people will tell me about it anyway. Yeah. Like, I'll never miss anything, unfortunately. But you can cut down on that consumption. You don't need to be consuming that. And it's incredibly rare that you're actually ever going to need any of that information. It's really just lowering your vibration. And if you sit at home,
you're going to call that into your reality.
Yes.
It's the more you connect with those frequencies, and the more fear that you feel, and if you feel scared, and it's just going to bring you down to those lower frequencies. And when you're at a lower frequency, you're
manipulated, and your immune system's down. You get sick, you get stressed out. I mean, it all comes from your mind. In fact, your body is literally only a tool of your subconscious mind. You actually cannot even move your body without your subconscious mind. You don't think about the movements you're making, you just make them, because your body is only a tool of your subconscious mind. So because of that, by universal law, it's impossible to have any physical ailment without it originating in the mind. So be careful of what you're putting into your mind. Just be aware of it.
Yeah. And that's what this is about, is just having mindfulness. I find that I'm very intentional about what I watch, and I mute commercials. Like, I will not take that in. But sometimes I do watch things that do have some violence in it. And usually I'll mute it during that as well. I won't watch it. But you have to be able to detach from the things. Like, if I'm watching something and I start to feel a little stressed about it, or you get really attached to a character, and you have to you literally have to kind of detach and be like, it's okay, because this doesn't affect me. This is not in my here now. I feel like I've just gotten really good at disconnecting from allowing that energy to affect me. Yes. But if you are consuming that stuff, you have to be able to do that. Otherwise,
discern what you're allowing to actually impact you. And that's such a good point, because balance, yes, I am aware of what I consume, but I'm not perfect. I mean, if you know me, you know I listen to music that's questionable. and I eat some things that are maybe not so good for me, but balance, everything is about balance. And there's, positive and negative. I mean, there is a positive and negative end to absolutely everything in physical existence. We actually couldn't exist without those polar ends. So it's important to realize, yes, balance, but awareness. And your conscious mind does have the ability to accept or reject concepts. So say that the news is on in the background of your friend's house and you hear something terrible. You can choose to say, you know what, that's not impacting me. That's not in my here now. I don't have to accept that. Or you can subconsciously allow yourself to buy into these concepts of everyone is dying and the world is ending, and you're going to feel really sad, really stressed out, really scared, and it's going to impact how you're acting. It's going to impact how your body feels. It's going to impact your health, everything. So just to become aware of that and to discern, okay, if this is making me feel really bad, maybe I just won't consume it. But also, I can watch a show like Outlander. Outlander's a wonderful show, and there are so many good ones, But as long as you're not allowing that to impact you and how you feel, it's okay, balance, Yeah.
There are some negative situations in Outlander, but the connection that we have with it is we actually come out of it feeling better when we watch it.
At the end, it's important. True love.
Yeah.
Everyone survives. We won in the end.
But it's also something so simple as commercials can impact you so heavily. Commercials are created by marketing experts who know how to program your subconscious mind. They attack your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm.
I took a course in college that talked about that. They do attack your subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
and they put so many subliminal messages into not only commercials, but
Mm-hmm.
also movies and TV shows and pretty much everything you're consuming on a device.
And I'm sure everyone listening has noticed, but most commercials are related to health, medications. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot too. But when they are talking about these illnesses, they have a way of telling your subconscious mind that, in normalizing to your subconscious mind, like there's one specific commercial he talks about, and it's for shingles, and it's like basically saying, like, when you're 50 or whatever, like, you are 85% more susceptible to getting this. And so it's like actually telling your mind that
You're going to get sick.
yes. And there's so many commercials out there about cancer and all of these things. And so they're not only telling your subconscious mind that you could get this illness, they are also creating a synthetic solution to this illness. So they're also going to gain monetary value from you once you develop this illness that they're training your mind to develop. Like you said, illnesses begin in the mind.
I actually took a course on how to like advertise, right? And what it taught us was that you need to create a problem and then give a solution. And that's what like every commercial does. But I learned something through Bob Proctor that I had never really realized before. And it is this: medication does not ever treat the cause. It only treats the symptoms because the cause originates in the mind. So medication is only like a Band-Aid. And when you're watching these commercials, real quietly in the tiny writing, they'll be like, and it'll give you heart disease and diabetes,
death,
and it'll kill you, and like the side effects are death, but it's fine. Take our drug and spend a lot of money on it too. And it's like, actually, you could correct the problem by changing what you're consuming, how you're feeling, eating different foods. And it starts by what you're choosing to consume and how you're feeling. And I mean, we have this book, it's called Metaphysical Anatomy, and it literally has the emotional cause of every physical ailment in it. It's an encyclopedia. And I mean, I use it with my clients, and before they can even tell me, like, either they'll tell me their physical ailment and I'll know what's emotionally going on with them, or they'll tell me their emotions and I'll say, oh, does your upper neck hurt? You know, and they'll be like, how'd you know? Or like, oh, do you have hip problems? And because it is really accurate, because you don't realize like how you feel, it creates every single action you take, whether that be staying up late, having a regular sleep schedule, eating unhealthy, whatever it might be. Like, your emotions are literally causing every single action. And you have to realize that you feel how you feel in your body. And I mean, like, if you feel sad, like say you're going through a heartbreak, you feel that. You feel it in your stomach. You feel sick. Your chest feels tight. Like, you feel that. I mean, if you feel horny, your body reacts to that. You feel hungry. You're salivating. Like, your body is always reacting to your thoughts and emotions. So it's not hard to connect the dots and say, oh my God, yes, if I'm holding on to this severe guilt for 35 years, it's going to cause some health problems. I can feel that. I can literally feel that in my body.
Another concept that I want you guys to think about is that the earth is healing. The earth has everything that we could need to heal. And a lot of the things that we take, the synthetic versions, actually stems from nature. People will take something from nature and they will study how it works, and they will create a synthetic version of it and then give that. Instead of taking the natural thing that comes from the earth, that is grown from source energy, the sun is the source of energy on this planet. The sun provides all of the food on our planet. Like, without it, we wouldn't have anything.
I've been looking into herbology, and I mean, we live in Minnesota, and prior to like actually looking into this, I've always been like, there's just weeds outside. Like, we don't have too much here. We got some berries we can eat. you would be surprised if you look into it. There is so much medicine in your yard. I mean, most of the weeds in your yard can heal you.
Dandelions, we have them everywhere. Everyone's like, oh, dandelions, they're stupid,
I
ugly
hate them.
weed. There's studies that show that they are beneficial to your heart health. And I watched a documentary, and they say that the plants that grow closest to you are the ones that you need, that your body needs. And how funny is that the dandelions are everywhere, outside of everyone's front door. We could all be utilizing that and help heal our heart. And heart disease is actually, I think, one of the leading
causes of death. So prominent in the US.
You know, I am not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but there are studies that show that dandelions are good for your heart health, and they're right outside everyone's door. And we all have this negative perspective on them when they're actually really amazing. So I've actually been starting to pick them and make dandelion tea.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things that have so many health benefits that are literally right outside your door. Google it.
Yes. And just to finish up the media topic, the time that you're consuming things actually matters too. When we first wake up and right before we go to sleep, our brainwave states are different, and our subconscious mind is more susceptible to being programmed. So, you know, I think it's important right away in the morning and before you go to bed to not be consuming media at all. Like, I think it's a good time for quiet time.
So important. And I mean, your conscious mind is much more active during your waking hours. So if you can spend the time when you first wake up and right before you go to bed thinking about and doing things that are going to relax you, or thinking about things that you want to manifest or things that you want to get done the next day, you'll find that you'll become much more proactive, more successful, happier. And then if you want to consume junk, do it while you're awake, you know, and then at least you have the conscious ability to say, okay, well, I'm not going to buy into this concept and, you know, allow it to take over my emotions. Like, I'm just watching it for the entertainment.
Yeah. So with that, just start slowly cutting certain things out of your life that are low vibrational or making you feel bad, and kind of changing your perspective or your relationship with these things. And maybe instead start replacing them with something that's a little more positive, a little bit more high vibrational. And I think over time you'll realize how amazing that really is in your mind and body.
Yeah, those little action steps will change everything. So many people come to me and they say, like, you know, how do I reprogram my subconscious? Like, not even consciously aware of it. It's the hardest thing ever. And it all starts by taking those little action steps towards what you do want. It doesn't have to be all at once. It doesn't have to be big things, but just awareness itself can change so much. And as far as like the medication thing, obviously, you know, I personally believe that we can heal just about anything naturally. But medication does have a vibration as well. And, you know, some things do really help people. Sometimes if a person believes that they're going to heal, then they will. And so if you are like, you know, I love my doctor, they're really kind, they really care about me, then you have to listen to that. Like, listen to that intuition. There are lots of amazing doctors who do heal people. There is obviously medication that does help heal people, and that's because it does have a vibration. So, you know, I'm not saying don't listen to that or don't go to your doctor at all, but just be aware. Like, just become aware.
All awareness. It's all about awareness, and the placebo effect is real.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
I mean, that's something to think about too.
So with that, you know, again, like I say in every episode, I'd like to thank you for helping raise the frequency, because just listening to this episode, you're becoming aware of maybe things that you hadn't thought about before. And just that awareness is going to help raise your frequency. And that's going to change how you feel and how you act. And it's going to change the way that other people feel when they're around you. And it's going to change the world. And
that's exactly why we've wanted to do this podcast, for that exact reason, and to have a positive media outlet that you can turn to.
So we wanted to start including you guys in a tarot reading just to leave you with a little something. Maybe you want to do a little quick meditation after this, or a little journaling. And so we're going to pull a card for a message for you. And if you're listening, this is for you right now. It's meant to be divine timing.
So today we are pulling from the Moon Witch deck. This is my personal deck that I use regularly. And just give me a moment here. I'm going to call in our message. All right, so I did pull the 8 of Swords. I'm going to give it to Demi so she can kind of tell you what it looks like while I look.
She's got pink hair is my first thing. We matched today. So she is tied in a rope, and there are 8 swords around her and clouds behind her. When I look at this, though, like, it seems almost as though she's bound herself to me. But we'll see what the message is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So the themes of this card say self-made prison, denial, helpless, powerless, being your own worst enemy. So the 8 of Swords depicts a witch surrounded by 8 swords. Ropes are tied around her arms and body. At first glance, this might look like a prison or helpless situation. However, her legs are not tied. She can leave any time she wishes to. The 8 of Swords signifies a self-made prison, created by your own thoughts, beliefs, and negative self-talk. 8 of Swords serves as a reminder that you are a powerful creator. You have the power to build walls around yourself, break any chains, break free from any prison, and overcome any fear. Ask yourself if there's anything preventing you from achieving your dreams. Dig deep, be brave, and look at the truth. If you recognize any destructive patterns, negative thoughts, or self-made obstacles, use the rational thinking of the swords to cut them loose.
I think that is so in alignment with this entire episode, because so much of the reason that we do hold ourselves back is because of how we are habitually feeling, or because of how our subconscious is programmed. So, you know, if you grow up eating junk food and consuming negativity, then it becomes habitual. But you have the choice and the power to change that. And you also have the choice and the power to change a lack mindset into an abundance one. And I promise you, when you take that leap of faith, your reality is going to reflect it.
Yeah. We are all powerful creators. We're all the creators of our own reality. And I think the hardest part is finally accepting or having awareness of how you're acting and how that actually influences your reality. And once you create acceptance or awareness around that, you're able to begin to change those things. And you can do it.
Yes.
And yeah, all the power lies within.
Yeah, you have the power. You might be your own worst enemy, but you're also your greatest source of power, and literally nothing is impossible. There is infinite abundance here for you.
Absolutely.
I hope that consuming this makes you feel happy and high vibrational. And as always, we love you.
We love you guys.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.